guys, I am back with my friend Elysa.
Hi.
Um, and we're here to talk about, we're both writers and aspiring authors, and we're here to talk about that experience. In passing, I've talked about, I made like one video about NaNoWriMo, Rimo, whatever. I prefer Rimo because I just think it sounds better.
Well, it flows.
Right?
Off the
It flows
tongue.
better, yeah.
What is NaNoWriMo? It's NaNoWriMo.
And I've talked about like working on a book and yeah, all that good stuff, but I've never actually sat down and talked about my writing experience. But now with a fellow writer, I think that this could be fun. We were tentatively thinking of making it like a series, not like a regular series, but just randomly checking in. Maybe my friend Matthew, who is a part of our writing group, will join us sometime.
Oh, we are a little group, aren't we?
We are! But, yeah. So I'll just get right into it. I have a few questions that I wrote down for us to hopefully steer the conversation.
Okay.
So
Question numero uno.
What are we working on, and how long have we been working on it?
Okay.
So, I am working on an urban fantasy, YA, or new adult. It kind of is cross-genre.
Genre.
And so the idea for it started when I was in 7th grade. The date that I have written down for this first ever inception of the story is 9/5/09. So it's almost 11 years since I've been working on it.
It's 2020 now.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's older than a decade.
Yeah, it is. And someone had given me this book, He Came to Set the Captives Free. There were these friends I had who, were like avid churchgoers. They're very devout. And I read it, and I thought it was interesting. But rather than sort of fostering my relationship with Jesus, I was just like, ooh, this could be a novel.
Your brain is so special.
That is the brain of a writer.
Honestly.
And, I was like, what would happen if there were twins and one was possessed by a demon and one was possessed by an angel? And then I was like, okay, would an angel possess somebody? I feel like there are, like, ethics getting into that. And then that sparked my idea. And now I have a character. There are were-tigers and angels and demons and jinn and psychics. And there's a lot. There's a lot more going on. But it's all set with New York City as my backdrop.
I'm gonna see if I can find the first inception of my story. I doubt I can find it. Like, you were so specific. It was 9/05/09.
Well, so I'm fanatical about dating things.
Okay.
And so whenever I find something that I haven't dated, it really upsets me.
Oh, okay.
And so sometimes I remember like the general time frame, and I'll like at least jot that down. I think I have an obsession with remembering things, so I don't want to like forget. I don't want to forget when this happened, or I don't want it to be like lost. That just got deep.
Oh. True.
But yeah, so that's my writing experience, writing journey.
Okay, so I found it. This one, I don't know if this is like the very original one. I'm gonna say it is because this is from 2018. It says 7/22/2018. Do you see if I find another one? Okay, so the notes. Here is the notes from when I had a dream about it. So, okay, I didn't get into it yet. So I had a dream. This is where this story came from. I had a dream one night, and it was like sometimes, I don't know, I smoke a lot of weed, y'all. And my dreams get crazy. So I think one of those nights was one of those nights. And I dreamt that there was a spirit in the forest, like a woodland nymph type spirit. And they were confronted with like this darkness or something. And it was destroying the forest, and in order to save her forest, she had to enter a portal that took her to New York City, and she had to go steal something from the Met to save the forest. It has strayed from that path, but it has.
But it's still got like retained some of the core story elements.
Yeah,
I feel like.
I think so too. Let me see if I can find. Oops, where'd it go? Okay, this one. Oops, come on. Details and activity. Okay. Created 11/1/17. So I let it sit for several months before I was like, maybe I should write this.
I mean, but listen, you wanted to let the idea marinate a little bit. My next question for both of us is, what's, your writing experience? Like, how long have you been writing? What have you, do you have anything finished?
No.
Cool, that's easy. And I have 2 finished manuscripts, actually.
Wow.
They're both trash.
How long are they?
One is about, 50,000 words. The other one, I don't know. Here, actually, let me see if I still have it. I can go check.
Yeah, you better send it.
No.
You better send it.
No, girl, I'm telling you, it's so bad. So the first one it's basically my obsession with Twilight and The House of Night and Vampire Academy, and it's in that book.
I think we all have one of those.
It is just all merged.
I have one that I was looking at this and I was like, oh, yikes. I read it on a live and everybody was like, yikes. But they were like, read us more. It's like, so you can laugh at my pain?
Okay.
No.
I can't find it. Did I have a name for it? Because my story currently is story 2.
That's what it's called, story 2.
Well, no. So it's called Bonds of Time. But it's the file is called story 2. So I'm like, I have a story 1, but did I just delete it? Okay.
Oh.
Here, I'll read you a snippet of Sunset Academy.
Ooh.
That was the
Give me the
Vampire
snippet.
Twilight.
Give me the snippet.
Oh God, guys, you're never gonna think of me the same way again.
Give me the snippet. If I can find the snippet,
hold on.
I'll find you a snippet. I have one that was like Red Riding Hood and vampires, and I don't know. I was really into like the twisted fairy
Sunset
tales
Academy,
thing.
The School for Newborn Vamplings, Volume 1.
Vamplings? Please read the rest.
Chapter 1, A Brand New Start. As my mother, Delilah, and I drove to my new home, I thought about my last minutes in Los Angeles, California. My dad, Mike Young, had said he loved me, something he hadn't told me since 9 years ago when I was 8.
Wow, Mike.
I love you too, Dad, I had said awkwardly, and had given him a quick one-armed hug. My head only came up to his neck. My father was 6'4". I took out my phone and snapped a quick picture of the two of us. Stand still, Dad, I said. Your face is blurred out and you look way over... you look way over 60 instead of 40. Fine, he said. I was about to take another when he said, can't you just keep that one and let it be? When I go through my pics, dear God, I do not want to see hair and eyes, I inform him. That's the opening. That's how it begins.
The opening? Let me see if I can find one.
That's how it begins. This story was... Oh, it was only a novella. It was 20,372 words.
Oh, that's not bad.
Let me see if I find the other one.
Oh, wait, I do have some stuff completed, but it's like short stuff.
In terms of writing experience, though, I had stuff published in my high school's literary magazine. I do also have a blog. I do have a piece in this anthology for my internship called Love Letters to the Mothers and Fathers of the African Diaspora. And I will put a link to it in the description, because if you guys buy it, you will be helping out some, writerly kids, giving money to a nonprofit. So I've done like lots of writer related things. I've gone to the Writer's Digest conference. I'm a creative writing major, so I've taken like writing workshop classes. I am also an avid reader of Writer's Digest articles. I watch a lot of like writing videos, like Alexa Dunn's one of my favorites. And yeah, so that's kind of my writing experience. Like I said, I do have 2 full like manuscripts, but both of them are trash. And for the current story I'm working on, Bonds, I do have a full-length manuscript, but it was a very different story at the time. And I want to say the past 2 or 3 years has been me working on the story as it is now. And while I am happy with it. I also just wish it were out of my head. This was part of the reason why I actually wanted to make this video, because I just wanted to talk about, the writing experience. Hopefully generate in making these videos, I'll push myself to have more updates for you guys and actually have stuff to talk about, rather than just being like, yeah.
I still haven't written
another blank page.
Stared at my screen for 6 hours, then went to order pizza.
That was deep, bro.
Stared into the void of the blinking screen.
I also recently entered the short fiction contest.
Oh, with whom?
I think you linked it to me some years back, and I entered it, and I didn't get chosen.
Yeah, me either.
And then I tried again this year. Yeah. I tried again this year. Wednesday is like when they finish with the first round, so I'll hear back. I will let you guys know if it's good. If you don't hear anything back, then it wasn't good.
I was so sad because no, I'm not gonna say that. Never mind.
You should say it.
When I read the one who won, I was like,
it wasn't as good. Okay, so I hate.
Could have been better.
I hate when that happens. When you don't win, and I'm just like, but bro, like, I don't know if mine would have been the best here.
But this one is not.
It can't be. So
anyway,
shifting into what are our goals, our writing goals. You can start this one off.
Girl, my writing goal is to write. I have not sat down and written anything more than a paragraph
in a little while.
In a very long time.
I get that. I think that's one of my short-term goals.
Yeah.
My dream has been to be traditionally published, though.
Same.
Self-publishing does seem cool, and
let
that might
me
be
traditionally publish you. I wanna open a publishing company.
That'd be awesome. Right now I'm looking. My goal is to be an editor, like an editorial intern, and all that good stuff. So listen, I get some experience. You get your shit together, and we'll start ourselves. Yeah, that'd be great.
True as collab.
So you said you also want to be traditionally published?
I guess that is a long-term goal. Yeah.
I think it would be so cool to be able to make enough money to potentially live off of my writing. I don't know if I would stop working per se, because writing definitely is pretty solitary.
Yeah, it's very.
But I'd love.
It's lonely work writing.
To make enough money, or to make a good amount of money.
Don't make me sad.
So what's your process? Whether it's your naming process, world building, are you a plotter versus pantser? So what's your plotting process or not?
Oh, okay. Well, plotter versus pantser, I'm definitely plantster.
Me too.
Or blomster.
I definitely do a little bit of both. I'm like, okay, this is not working out for me, so let me plot out this whole novel. And then I plot it out, and I write it, and I start following it, and then my characters take me in a different direction, and then I'm like, well, this is useless.
Or, generally, I start writing when an idea comes to me before, plotting anything out. Because otherwise, I'm going to lose that whole idea.
So I have done that. I had an idea come to me in all places in my Server British Lit class, and we were just talking about Chaucer. I don't even know. I just know that we were talking about Chaucer. There was something about a stranger or something. I didn't really pay attention during that segment of what's his book? Oh, the Canterbury Tales.
Okay.
And I don't really remember what happened there.
But because he was writing,
basically,
you're writing your own story. You forgot that class.
I had a random idea, and I just started writing it down, and I haven't yet gone back to it because there are things that I need to flesh out, and I also want to finish this story. I really want to see it finished and published. But yeah, so I agree that is part of my process. My naming process, I have a lot of name books, and I scour them, and I look for the perfect meaning, and sometimes I'll find it, and then I'll change it. I have one character, Elena Jane. She was Melanie. She was also Stacey Ann. She's gone through a couple of carnations.
So I said carnation here, but I wasn't talking about the milk, the color, or the flower. I meant incarnation.
I got Elena Jane from the song Hollywood's Not America. It starts off, born Helena Jane. And so I was like, is he saying Helena or Elena? And I decided it was Elena, so. I later discovered that it was Helena. What I thought was just an exhalation was actually the H.
Helena.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. And I've actually stuck with it since then, and it actually ties into like some of her ancestry and stuff like that. So that's gonna actually be really cool.
Okay.
And then I also have other characters. I have one character. I have a character named Marco, and I just chose his name at random, and I have not changed it.
I forgot to elaborate a little bit more, explaining that this name was just supposed to be a placeholder. Sooner or later, I was planning to scour my name books to find something that better fit this character, and the only name that was chosen just at random is the only name that I've still retained, with the exception of my main characters.
A lot of my characters are either chosen at random, picked from like a generator, or tirelessly searched for a word that means
something
what this
special.
Means. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like I told you before, Kadali means banana tree. And her name used to be Ihara, and that one was a randomly generated name. But everybody kept connotating Ihara to me because our names both began with E, and I was like, that's
okay,
not...
so that's so
that's
annoying.
not what's happening.
But you know what? We'll save that for our things people say to writers video.
Okay, all right.
I think, hold on, let me just like jot
that
that
down.
Is your character you? Are you your character?
Are you your character? Is that supposed to be you?
Like, come on.
Oh, no!
No? Oh, I got it. Okay, I was like, well, who did it? What happened? So in terms of world building, my world is set in our world. And so while I do have like a mystical island, beyond that, it's mostly more so magic building, which we can get into, but I feel like you can talk more about the world building.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say that yours was mostly magic building, and I still want to hear about it because building magic systems in mine has been very difficult so far. But world building, my process. I guess you start out with setting, I suppose. Like what does it look like? What does it feel like there, I guess? What's the... Climate, thank you. I was thinking like temperature, and I was like...
I got you. So I swear to you, the first word I thought of was temperature too, actually.
Okay, and I was like, it's not always the heat that determines the climate. But yeah, what's the climate? What do the people there react to the climate? How do they react to the climate?
Occupation, perhaps?
Occupation, yeah. Do they have special holidays? Do their jobs serve a purpose to the culture? Is there a culture? Stuff like that. Let me see if I can...
And then you do have like a backstory for your world, like people traveling from one world to another.
Yeah.
So, you know, I guess every world needs its creation myth. Yeah. So that's something definitely, you know, being a religion minor, that definitely comes in handy, like the origins of things, like thinking about how they apply. And obviously this is things that we touch in like with creative writing as well. But you also find a lot of things from other places, other sources. Again, like I said, the religion minor, thinking about the importance of creation myths and culture and how religions brings up and stuff like that. You know, it's really fascinating. For magic building, I do a lot of, you know, so I think about like the basis. I think about like, okay, what skills would a were-tiger have? What have people shown me were-tigers have? And then what do I think, like, you know, I might do research if it's something tangible like a tiger. I might do research on what do tigers, you know, do, and how can I incorporate their abilities into my character. If it's something more like intangible, like elements and stuff like that, I try not to, you know, base it off of something else. Like if we're working in the elements, I feel like a lot of people are going to be like, oh, this is obviously Avatar. And I'm like, you know, magic in general is usually based in the elements because it's natural, you know? And so I try to think of like, you know, the things that I can think of, like what can I think of doing with magic? And then I also try to sometimes keep it more mundane. Like I'll look to like a forum, you know, populated by like pagans. Like what do they say about... because sometimes, you know, people get really elaborate, and I think that you can get elaborate, definitely. But I think about like
sometimes too elaborate is too much.
Like what are the personalities that people usually ascribe to the elements? Like are we, and you know, Chinese culture versus like, you know, Celtic culture, and how to incorporate that. And so I feel like a lot of times it's a lot of like blending of things that I think and things that I've read, but I try to put a real spin on it by looking into how do like people like real people use it or think that it can be used. Like, you know, having an empath, like what do people say versus what I've read in books and like really mystical books. Like what if I just, you know, just downloaded an Amazon book.
Empath.
Yeah, you know, what would that be like? So I try to make it as realistic as possible. And then, you know, because it's magic, obviously there are going to be like magical things or whatever. And some of it's just like really out there. But like I have a jinn character. I have a character who's a genie, and I have started like looking through the Quran to see what they say about genies rather than just like popular folklore and what has become popularized from translations of the Arabian Nights.
Genie from
yeah, exactly.
Aladdin.
So, you know, that's kind of where my writing comes from. My magic world building comes from. What are your thoughts on critiques? Do you like to get critiques and then write? Do you just write?
No, actually, I'm not gonna say I dislike critiques because they are helpful. I think you gotta take this stuff with a grain of salt.
I also feel like you can get lost in critiques, like just like keep sending it to people and then never actually work on your story. So some people say you have to finish it and then send it to people. But sometimes I feel like it has been helpful, like hearing what people think, like what I could change, and that has sparked ideas for me to keep going. So I feel like you just have to find that balance. One thing I will say with critiques, though, is that depending on what the critique is, like I will be saying, I'm just like, you know, F you don't know what you're talking about. And then I'm like, oh, but they might have
I've been there.
In my last fiction workshop, they told me to set like a certain scene, like in scene, rather than just telling it in a like verbally, like
is
between
this
dialogue.
the one with the ring?
Yep.
Oh, and yes, it made such a difference.
So I agree, but when they said that, I was like, no. But I kept thinking about it over the next few months, and I'm like, damn, would this be more powerful? Okay, I'll just write a tentative scene, and I'll see what happens. And then I really like it, and that is really upsetting, actually.
I know how you feel.
Another one of my friends, she made one passing comment, and that caused me to scrap like the whole middle part of the story. And I think it's so much stronger now.
Which
I don't even remember how I changed it. I don't remember how I I don't remember exactly what she said. I think she just asked a question about like a character's motivation, and I was like, oh, damn.
You're right. They ain't got no reason to be
yeah. So
I know you
definitely.
That's why I'm like, when I told you, I was like, yeah, what do you feel about chapter 1? Because I don't want it anymore. But I don't know how to replace it. In terms of critique, though, I will say, if you're not going to be helpful, just say that you are not the one to talk to for writing critiques.
Yes.
Because if I send you my manuscript
and you either don't read it,
expecting help, and you either don't read it or you do read it and you say, yeah, it's nice.
And sometimes hearing it's nice can be helpful, but more often than not, the reason I sent it to you is because I do want feedback, so it can be frustrating, you know?
Tell me. Not even if you think there's something wrong with it, but give me something constructive.
Or tell me what you like about it. You know?
It's
like,
good.
I think that you're doing well in this aspect.
In this part. This here. This
and it's like, okay, cool.
Worked great because of this.
Not having a critique is also good. It's like, okay, like not having a criticism, rather, in the critique is also good, because it's like, okay, if I'm getting this point across. Or even if you're like, this is how I read this, and I had this emotional reaction, rather than just like, it was good, I liked it, you know? I had a friend,
then you also get the chance to see if the emotion that you're trying to put across is what comes across.
I had a friend who said that, you know, when I had first sent her my story, she was just like, yeah, it was good. And she didn't really have anything. And she was like, she felt like she learned more how to like read a story. And I feel like a lot of times that might come from it, like someone not reading critically or learning how to read critically. I know a lot of times people kind of gloss over what, you know, you learn in school, or those tips are only for school, you know? But I've definitely found it came in handy, like the way I read certain things, especially having to critique like workshop partners and not being able to just be like, it's good, like, you know?
Yeah, you can't just say that.
You have to.
I haven't been in a workshop yet. I'm excited for it, but I'm also very terrified.
Oh my gosh, I think it'll be great. But I think also you should. So I have sent my story out to just like randoms, and I'm not randoms, but like a friend who I know might read it, and I'm like, you know, I just need a new pair of eyes. But I do have like a set group of people who I do like send it to and ask for advice, because I feel like just you know, because you do have to take everything with a grain of salt, obviously. But knowing a certain reader and knowing their like reading style, you know, that also helps a lot, and that goes a long way. And getting consistent advice from a set few people, because everybody's going to keep giving you things, and at the end of the day, you just decide what you want to change.
What you want to keep, yeah.
But if you have like 9 different people telling you 9 different things, like it definitely gets hard. Whereas if you have like a set forward, and you kind of can guess where their critiques might come from, or you know. So I feel like in terms of critiquing, like being aware of that is important too.
Yes. I didn't even think about that part.
Do you have any tips for like writers in our position? We're all, I feel like Elysa, I, and our friend Matthew are all kind of like, we've had our inciting incident and we're not at the rising. Our action is like at the bottom of the hill.
Yes, it's hard to climb. We have no momentum.
And I know this is a part where a lot of writers get stuck.
Rope.
I know this is the part where a lot of writers get stuck. So we're all just hoping to, so for me, I have the story figured out. I know my twists. I know like the big points, but I'm struggling because I have it all in my head. I just want it out. And so I'm struggling to get it there. But I also realized recently that I started thinking about, like, what am I going to do when the story's finished? Like, I'm not going to be sitting with these characters. I'm not going to be sitting with Katie. I'm not going to, like, wake up at 3 a.m.
You're going to have withdrawals.
I might have withdrawals. I might be, like, hey, you know, awake at 3 a.m. and just, like...
That's when you write a next book.
It is. But because I've been dealing with at least these main characters for 11 years, it's going to be so weird...
I can hear that.
Not thinking about them, like, in the middle of class, like, I wonder, like, whatever, you know?
Yeah. I see what you mean.
It's all a part of the other changes, though, too. Like, I'm supposed to be graduating soon. I might not have my characters anymore. Like, all of these things are being taken away from me.
At the same time. Just get new characters, though. These are all people that you've created in your head.
This is true. So
just create some more.
This is definitely true.
Unless they aren't people you've created in your head and you've kidnapped them and forced them to
I mean, listen, we don't talk about that on YouTube, okay?
Plausible deniability is paramount.
The doctor turned around so he could have deniability. Anyway.
Number 1.
So, I think in terms of tips, I feel like I would just say, like, watch videos and read books that you like. And
read books you don't like too.
Oh yes,
honestly.
definitely, and see why you don't like it, or see what they did well that could work. Read books outside of your genre so that you can, you know, use things from, you know, if you're writing fantasy, use like something that you learned from a crime novel, because fantasy fans might not expect it, and though it might not be like innovative in the crime world, it is in fantasy.
Exactly. I can't add to that. That was like...
Okay, cool.
Oh, wait, no. Yeah. Reading books you don't like. Well, you did say, why don't you like them? Yeah, honestly, no, you said it. You said it.
Okay, cool. So yes, we shall be back with more. And I hope you enjoyed this one, and I shall see you next time.